Okay, so welcome. So today we're going to be doing a virtual, so we're calling this our virtual scenario-based workshop, and we are with Silver Creek um, High School, and they're from Haley, Idaho, correct? And we're here for you guys just to share some of your highlights of what's happening at Silver Creek.
Great. And so we'll begin with just thinking through what have you been up to with your senior project? And maybe you can introduce yourselves a little bit and let us, just by first name, let us know what you've been up to.
Cool. My name's Dylan Porth. I'm a senior at Silver Creek High School and top. And I have been really interested in design and architecture and engineering. And I decided to get an internship first at Power Engineers, which is an engineering company, obviously. And I worked with Garth Van Horn, and I drafted and I learned CAD, and I did that for about a semester. And now I've moved on to Sun Valley Bronze, which is a company that designs and makes like door handles, doorknobs, like plumbing, like
anything you can make
hardware.
From.
Yeah. So I've been working with my mentor Josh Commons, and I am really interested in chess. So I thought I'd combine my interest in engineering and architecture with chess, and so I've been designing and making my own chess set out of bronze.
Awesome. And maybe, Tora, would you be able to explain a little bit about how it's possible that a student has this opportunity to match what kind of skills they need to show as far as learning as a senior at your school and then their interests? How do you match that together?
Oh boy. How do we match that together? Their journey at Silver Creek starts in an interest-based format. So by the time you have a senior like Dylan, who's got a lot of interests and really is a high-functioning human in most of those interests, by the time they're a senior, if you're Dylan and you're ranked in the top 10 in the state for female chess players, and your father has this wonderful relationship with Sun Valley Bronze, and you have computer animated design experience, and your school wants a 3D printer, then your thinking takes you to why not combine all of those into the coolest project ever and use your computer animated design experience to build those skills even further and go deeper and apply those at a heavier level. Connect that to bringing 3D printing into our school, using it, putting your project, including that in your project, and then teaching others. And then just the fact that you are in a family whose spiritual belief system is paired to chess. And we can just take that project and peel the onion and come up with so much legitimate math in the CAD, the 3D printing, and the casting and dyeing of molds and bronze. We can find all the science of the elements.
So Dylan, you want to tell us a little bit more about your project? And you said you might have some pieces there to show us.
Yeah, so I'll start with my 3D prints. So what I did was, the first steps were to design the pieces. So I designed them in SolidWorks, which is a CAD-based program. And these are a couple of them. So this is my bishop right here. I don't know. Then I have my queen right here. And these were all 3D printed on our printer. And I have kind of an interesting concept behind these. So what they're going to do is they're going to have magnets on these flat faces, and they're going to connect together like this. And so you will be having one full piece that will separate into two halves. So then you'll have a black piece and a white piece. And it's just like a interesting consolidation idea, I guess. So yeah, these are the molds that we use to make the actual molds that we will pour the bronze into. And then, so from there, I can show you, this is the 3D print, and then this is my actual bronze piece. So these are the knights, and they connect together like that. So Yeah, right now I'm in the machining phase, so I'm machining the bottoms off so they're completely flat, and you can kind of see, I don't know if you can kind of see, there's holes right here
Mhm.
for magnets to go in. And yeah, so it's just been quite the process. I actually got to pour 2,000 degrees molten bronze myself, and like I was in there in the foundry, like making my own molds and like picking up all these like heavy things. And it's really interesting and cool experience.
That sounds like it.
Oh,
With,
yeah.
with all of those parts and pieces, what sticks out as something that surprised you the most in your internship so far in this work?
Well, honestly, everything has surprised me. Everything has just been quite the trip, and I think, oh, I don't know, the most surprising thing is the satisfaction and like the ability to say that like I have 2 years of CAD under my belt. I'm learning responsibilities and leadership roles within my school and also like a professional business. Um, yeah, and also all the different parts and pieces and the steps that we had to take and the like coming up with a hypothesis and then being able to test that and actually having everything work out okay. Uh, yeah, I don't know.
A couple surprises for me that I believe came about because of putting the student on the journey of the project and then kind of letting go for them to own it and seeing what comes up, which is very real world. Um, One, Dylan had to problem solve our own 3D printer in this process. It had a malfunction at many levels. In the afternoon, with the idea that when she came back in the morning, the piece would be done, and it was falling out of level. She asked me for my input, and she's forgotten more than I'll know about 3D printing. So my job is to guide her to resources and get her to start thinking about how to solve her own problem. And I think just giving her a couple ideas then, because it's her project that she owns and finds valuable, took that resource possibility, investigated those, and solved her own problem. And because we put her with Sun Valley Bronze and we live in the age we do, Sun Valley Bronze found out that they have the second or third highest footprint in this valley as far as ecologically. And so they have put a tremendous amount of work into lowering their footprint and recycling, social reasoning learning about environmentalism and the economics for a business of lowering that footprint and value for what is the life of the planet, which is her generation's battle. So for me, the surprises came, the predictable surprises, which is kind of a contradiction. Every project that we get students going on, if they begin to own, ends up having these unforeseen problems and hurdles to overcome. And because it's their project and their interest area, they just get after solving those problems. And I believe that that's basically what all of us adults do every day.
Right.
And so it's tremendously applicable to the rest of her life.
Great.
She went on her own to Boise State to find out more about their 3D printing lab.
Wow, great.
Her on this, she gave herself homework.
Yeah, so I actually went down to BSU because my brother's a student there and he's involved in their printing lab. So I got to print some of my pieces there and I actually learned a ton about actually solving the problem with our 3D printer of it not being level. And that was really cool. I got to just experience a whole new world down there and apply that to Silver Creek and our printer and what I'm doing with my project.
That's amazing. I love it. So for the teachers, for the educators looking at watching our video tour, maybe you could talk a little bit about how you sandwich this kind of work for your students from project proposal, then the students get an opportunity to work with your support, and then ending with that exhibition and talking a little bit through how you're preparing Dylan for your exhibition. I think coming up, right?
Yeah.
And we scaffold that pretty heavily here in terms of with our 9th and 10th graders, 101s and 201s. We really limit the beginning of that work to what's the proposal? Why do you want to do this? Why is it relevant to your interests in your school? And then what are you hoping to accomplish and learn? And we stop there and we engage them in the beginning steps of the project. And if we grab a mentor from the real world and do some real world learning, then very naturally the next steps begin, as in what are the products that we'll see at the end of this project? What resources are you going to use electronically, academically, human? How can you resource the project so that you're actually managing resources along with the project? So when kids are younger, we just limit it to basically, what do you want to do? Is it genuine and connected to your interests? And what are you hoping to get done? And then for someone like Dylan on the front end who says to me, I want to make a bronze chess set, I know why she wants to do it. I know she's capable, but then I present those issues to her on the front end as a senior who's been through these projects before. It's very important we have some outcomes. We engage in some discussion about what a good driving open-ended question is that allows you to keep going in your project. There's never an end. We really don't do exhibitions as in the project's over. We do exhibitions to reflect on the project itself, what the goals were. Did we reach the goals that we set out by semester? If we reached them, what helped us reach those goals? How did I operate effectively in time and space? And if we didn't reach some of those goals, why? Did that goal become less important as a new one came alive that's more relevant to the project or keeps us energized in the project? Or is it because maybe we have some growth to do with time management or planning ahead? Or are we struggling with communication with those mentors and real world people? Sometimes we get people in the real world who give a commitment and just can't keep that because their business depends on them running their business and taking a minute out from mentoring. So I hope that answers your question.
It does. Okay. Well, and we know that you use a lot of like scaffolding tools, Tor, that you use the project proposal that we talked about. You have an exhibition and a rubric, so that way, Dylan, you know kind of what you're preparing for when you tell your story of learning. And then ultimately, from what we are listening to, we're hearing the learning process. The product is bonus and it's awesome and you're happy that it turned out, or you think it's going to turn out in such a way, but really how much learning that you were able to do, math, language, English, probably you're writing about some of this work as well, right? You're reflecting with writing and now also with us with speech. So sounds very rich.
Mm-hmm. It is a little bit more about that. Oh, sorry about that.
Go ahead.
Tell us a little bit more about the I can statements.
Well, yeah, our school provides all these I can statements within every learning subject. So for social reasoning, I just had these all provided, and as I was reading them, I was just thinking about my LTI and my internship and how that correlates or how that relates to what I'm doing there. And so far, I've just learned so much, and I didn't even realize it until I actually started reading through these and really being able to understand what I've learned so far.
And for us as a staff, with being part of the Mastery Network, I think education is trending towards skills and new learning. And it's really important in the 21st century, kids have skills that are rooted in problem solving. So the I can statements are really about, that's a statement that says, I have a skill. And I'd like to tell you how I put that skill into a language that's understandable. And so again, in the scaffolding with a younger student, we might not advertise those skill statements on the front end, because the important thing is to get them going in the project and the work. As we have older students and we see the gaps that have been created by focusing on one area and letting another area go, then we're able to more overtly and on the front end say, listen, there's a couple of mastery skills that we expect kids to leave our school with, and we haven't seen a lot of evidence of that. So then with someone like Dylan, I can say, you know, I really want to develop a couple of these statements. You know, I want to work on your ability to say that you can do that and then provide some evidence in an exhibition. So rather than being in a seat for a certain amount of hours and passing a test, Dylan is interested in a project that this in the real world and gaining skills. And those skills for her are very specific to tremendous growth in computer animated design. From her last internship being two-dimensional on a computer and never seeing that in real life, to this internship doing two different forms of CAD and then actually connecting that work to the 3D printer and creating, being a construction worker, and at the end of the day, seeing a house. Dylan's house is a bronze chess set that she really ran with from idea to product that her and her father will play chess on. Whenever it's done, the first game will be Dad and Dylan hammering it out. And we've already have an idea about time lapsing and recording that, and then an exhibition maybe speeding that probably 2.5 hour chess game into about a 3-minute thing that the rest of us can see. So again, and I just want to add that a huge problem for me to have with students is kids who want to do too much and are so into learning that you have to kind of apply the brakes. So while Dylan has done this very real world project at our school, she's also taken 3 advanced opportunity classes at the college across the street, and then taken 2 dual credit, 1 math, 1 psychology courses at our school. So she's literally doing 5 courses of college while she's engaged in this real world learning project. That's amazing. And the only sacrifice I have to make is that her schedule is not very typical of a high school student. We are constantly in communication about what today's schedule is, because in the real world, you don't do this project for 53 minutes Monday through Friday from 11:02 to 11:55. So it's really awesome.
That sounds exciting. And Dylan, it sounds like you have a lot of skills to be adding to a portfolio that can go out into your future career choice.
Definitely. And I've talked about this a lot with my mentor, just being able to get those experiences under my belt, like being able to machine these pieces and like make the molds and pour the bronze. And I think that's really important, because going further in architecture and engineering, being able to design these things and then have a product is kind of intense, because if you don't know the process that it gets to get like to that product, then you don't really know how to design something efficiently and that's actually makeable, unless you know the actual process behind it, like what I'm going through right now. So
Dylan, what do you want to do when you finish high school?
Well, right now I'm in the process of applying to, I think, 4 or 5 different colleges. I'm planning on going into architectural engineering. I've always been interested in design, so this project has been really great pushing forward, and it's going to be such an awesome thing to be able to put on my resume and give to these colleges and future jobs. And I don't really know where I'm going in my future as far as that. I just know that I want to be in design, and I want to be designing anything, things like chess sets. That'd be super cool, but yeah.
And from an advisor point of view, I just feel like Dylan's heading towards success, and where that occurs and how that looks, see that tree grow. I just get to help plant a seed and know that I've seen enough as an advisor to say that there's just zero question. Dylan will only do in her future what she's interested in, like most other adults on the planet. And if she's interested in it, she knows how to manage it now and problem solve to a degree that I don't see a lot of roadblocks or obstacles in the way. The one thing we haven't done with this is her and I debriefed yesterday about the I can statements and all of the academic content in this, and it would have been really fun had we seen this coming more. We could have grabbed some younger kids, and this could have been a project for 6 students, and Dylan could have been the leader with all of the academic disciplines in her project. But we really could have turned the ecological footprint piece loose to a younger student for just their social studies. It could have unpacked the math of CAD and 3D printing for a student who has that interest and just focused on their math, being learning from what Dylan has started. Any student that ever wanted to do chemistry and biology, I mean, come on, we're talking about bronze. So for us, and for me looking forward, there's this really cool opportunity moving forward with seniors to maybe put a leadership lens on this and invite them to bring younger students along, because they learn the most from mentors, and why wouldn't a younger student learn the most from an older student in a mentoring format? So possibilities just never end.
It is so exciting to see what you guys are doing there at Silver Creek. You should be so proud of yourselves, both students and advisors. So congratulations, and thank you so much for sharing your story. This is awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
It feels pretty good. It feels
Yeah.
like we're doing real work.
You are doing great. Thank you.